Welcome to the Deep Dive from C9. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera. Hello to all our C9 followers tuning in via the podcast or the business page.
Today, we're really getting into something critical. We've got a stack of sources here looking at cloud strategy, remote work, this whole thing some are calling Melbourne's cloud revolution.
Yeah, and our goal, our mission, if you like, is pretty straightforward. We want to arm you if you're an Australian business owner, maybe a C-level executive with, well, actionable knowledge.
Exactly. How to move away from those legacy systems that just drain productivity.
And drain budgets.
Right. And move towards genuinely scalable cloud-native solutions. We've looked at national trends, cost reports, some strategic pivots that actually worked.
And the core question, the real tension here is, it's significant. How do leaders manage this? You know, with maybe over half the workforce hybrid, while ditching the high costs and, frankly, the competitive drag of those old systems.
It's so relevant now. You feel the pressure, right? Business is stuck with tech basically designed for, 2019? Pre-pandemic.
Trying to operate in today's digital world. It just doesn't fit.
So this deep dive, it's for you if you're just tired. Tired of patching up yesterday's problems and need a clear path.
A scalable path. Efficient. Something that gives you quick wins, demonstrable results, without, blowing the entire IT budget sky high.
Okay, so let's start with the pain points. Because they're not abstract, they're very real and quantifiable. That persistence of remote work, it seems to be the main driver here.
It absolutely is. The data we've seen is clear. We're past that initial huge remote work surge, sure.
Right.
But it's settled. Nationally, about 36% of Australians work from home, at least partly. But Melbourne, other big city, over 50% are in some kind of sustained hybrid model. That's the baseline now.
50%. So systems designed for everyone in the office are, fundamentally broken now.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not just annoying anymore. It's an economic drag. It hits productivity, collaboration.
And the sources talk about specific costs.
Oh, absolutely. Immediate costs. Think about maybe a sales team in Richmond, their CRM, right? It starts lagging during peak hours when everyone's trying to connect remotely.
So it's technically working, but
it's slowing things down, stalling deals maybe.
Yeah.
Because collaboration gets clunky.
And downtime, when things just stop.
That's where it gets really eye-watering. The sources put it for mid-sized firms at potentially up to a $10,000 per hour.
Wow. $10,000 an hour. Just because the system's rigid.
Rigidity, that's the perfect word. These traditional systems, they need huge upfront cash for hardware. And then they become bottlenecks. Demand goes up, you're stuck. Demand drops, you're paying for capacity you don't need. It's inefficient either way.
And it's only going to get worse, isn't it? With Melbourne's software sector projected to grow. What was the figure?
Huge growth. An 18.7% compound annual growth rate. We're talking over USD 17 billion nationally by 2033.
So you need flexibility. Instant scaling. Legacy systems just can't do that.
They really can't. And beyond just inefficiency, there's the complexity risk. Legacy software, it walls off data, creates silos.
Meaning teams have to do manual workarounds.
Exactly. Lots of copying, pasting, reconciling. It's slow and error prone. Think about a Melbourne retailer during, say, the Australian Open. Big crowds, lots of online traffic.
Right.
If they can't sync inventory properly across their online store and physical shops because the systems don't talk, that's lost sales, misplaced stock, just missed opportunities.
Okay, and security.
Yeah.
That's got to be a major concern with older tech.
Huge, yeah. These systems pop up way too often in Australia's notifiable data breaches reports. They're just harder to patch, harder to monitor effectively compared to modern cloud services.
So keeping that old infrastructure isn't just inefficient, it's like a ticking time bomb. Compliance, security.
It really is. And it's a risk the business ultimately has to own.
Okay, so if rigidity, cost, and risk define the problem, well, what's the strategic solution? You mentioned cloud-native development. What does that actually mean for an executive?
It's a fundamental shift in thinking about software. It's not just, renting server space somewhere else. It's about rebuilding applications specifically to use the cloud's real strengths.
What strengths are those?
Elasticity, resilience. We move away from these big monolithic apps where everything's bundled together to something much more agile. Think smaller pieces.
Wait, if I just took my existing software and, moved the server runs onto AWS, That's not cloud native.
Definitely not. No, that's often called lift and shift. And honestly, it frequently means you pay cloud fees but keep all the old inefficiencies baked into the design.
Ah, okay.
Cloud native uses things like microservices, basically breaking the application down into small independent functions, little building blocks that talk to each other.
And the business benefit of that.
Yeah.
Why should a CEO care about microservices?
Okay, two main things: agility and isolation. If one tiny part fails, let's say, the bit that processes online payments,
Right.
the rest of the system, like logging in or checking inventory, can keep running fine. It's not all or nothing.
Ah, I see. Less risk of total system failure.
Exactly. And you can update or scale just that one piece without touching everything else. That means getting new features out faster, much faster, and again, lower risk when you deploy updates.
So we're talking about tools. I've heard terms like containers, Docker, Kubernetes. They sound pretty technical.
They are technical tools, yes, but for the executive, the takeaway is speed and less risk.
Okay.
These tools help create identical environments everywhere. So what works in testing, it actually works when it goes live. No more nasty surprises.
That sounds good.
And for Australian businesses, picking the right platform matters. AWS, for instance, has tools like Amazon EKS for managing Kubernetes. Handles that complex scaling stuff automatically.
And what about Azure or Google Cloud?
Well, Azure AKS is really good for hybrid setups. If you need to keep some data on-premise for compliance, maybe data sovereignty reasons, Azure handles that well.
Important for certain industries, yeah.
Definitely. And Google Cloud's Anthos.
Mhm.
That's built for managing across multiple clouds, so you're not locked into one vendor. You can put workloads where they make the most sense technically and financially.
Smart.
Yeah, and this isn't just theoretical. Successful Aussie firms are doing this. Look at Atlassian. Their own cloud journey kind of sets a benchmark, inspires local innovation.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. The danger of not doing this, sticking with the old ways. This isn't just standing still, is it?
No, absolutely not. Delaying this kind of transition, the sources are blunt. It's a competitive death knell. You're actively falling behind.
How so?
Well, look at IT spending forecasts. Australia's set to hit, what, $172.3 billion in 2026?
Wow.
Companies stuck on legacy tech, they face project failure rates that are 20 to 30% higher than competitors who've moved to agile cloud-native approaches.
20 to 30% higher failure rate.
Yeah.
You're basically paying extra for things not to work.
Pretty much. Paying a premium for rigidity and inefficiency. It's counterintuitive, but it's real.
Which raises a really important point you brought up earlier. Why do some businesses try to skip that initial discovery phase? It sounds crucial.
It often gets seen as maybe a delay, a hurdle before the real work begins. But honestly, skipping that 45, maybe 60-minute session, it's consistently flagged in our sources as one of the biggest mistakes.
Why is it so important?
Because it's not just a chat, it's risk management. It forces alignment. That structured approach, like 15 minutes on getting everyone on the same page, 20 minutes really digging into the pain points. It uncovers the hidden constraints, the assumptions. It makes sure what the business needs actually matches what the tech team plans to build.
Done without it.
Misalignment from day one, which leads almost inevitably to scope creep. You know, the project just keeps growing, massive rework, budget blowouts. It's predictable.
Is there an example?
Yeah, the sources mention a Melbourne logistics firm. They skipped discovery, wanted to move fast, got a quick quote. The app they got just didn't quite fit their actual workflow. The end result, they had to spend 25% extra just on rework costs. A huge immediate penalty for trying to cut that corner.
Ouch. Okay, so that really highlights why a strategic, staged approach is so critical. How do you turn that potential pain into, well, actual gain?
Right. This is where we leverage things like serverless tech and microservices, not just because they're cool tech, but for financial efficiency, moving you towards a pay-per-use model.
Getting rid of that fixed infrastructure overhead.
Exactly. And we focus heavily on hybrid models where needed, especially for compliance. We helped a finance client, for instance, move to Azure Arc.
How did that help?
They kept control of sensitive data on-premise, which they needed to do, but still got cloud efficiencies for other parts. Cut their overall operational costs by somewhere between 20 and 40%.
Significant savings.
Yeah. And the key is staging the projects. Phase 1 always targets the core migration, the biggest pain point, to deliver immediate measurable ROI.
Like those 15% efficiency gains you mentioned.
Exactly. Get those quick wins, prove the value. Then those savings can actually help fund the next phases. It de-risks the whole thing financially, optimizes the budget.
Okay, this ties into pricing. You talked about indicative quotes versus discovery-based pricing. That sounds Important.
It's absolutely critical. What's fascinating is how misleading those quick indicative quotes can be.
Because they're just guesses, really.
Pretty much. They're based on assumptions. They don't account for your specific integration issues, your compliance needs, the unique quirks of your legacy systems.
Right. Every business is different.
And the financial damage can be serious, those indicative quotes. The sources show they often lead to cost overruns of 50% or more.
50%. Why so high?
Because they often round up the time estimate to the nearest day or even the nearest week. You end up paying for assumed time, buffer time, that wasn't validated by any real analysis.
So you're paying for error, essentially.
In a way, yes. Whereas discovery-based pricing, that comes after the detailed analysis in that discovery call.
After you actually understand the specifics.
Precisely. The pricing is then refined. It's billed accurately, often down to the hour. That level of precision, it's essential for proper budgeting at the executive level. It cuts out all that unnecessary financial padding.
Can you give us that financial example again to make it concrete?
Sure. Let's take that Melbourne e-commerce migration example. They get an indicative quote, maybe $80,000, based on a rough guess of 8 weeks at, say, $10,000 a week.
Okay, standard kind of quote.
Right. But then you do the discovery call, you dig in, and you find efficiencies. Maybe you realize you can reuse some existing Google Cloud modules they already have access to, or maybe simplifying a database migration saves a chunk of time. Suddenly, the actual optimized work is maybe 275 hours at, let's say, $250 an hour.
So the refined prices.
Comes down to $68,750.
Okay, so that's $11,250 saved just from doing that proper discovery up front.
Exactly. That single structured session prevented over-budgeting right from the start.
And that focus on stage delivery, precision pricing.
Yeah.
It boosts the overall ROI.
Dramatically, yeah. The data shows well-run, staged projects can hit ROI figures up to 50% for high performers. It really shifts IT spending. It stops being just a cost center and becomes a strategic investment driving growth.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the key takeaway for Australian executives listening right now?
I think it's clear. The cloud revolution, driven hard by remote work, isn't coming. It's here. It's actively shaping the competitive landscape in Melbourne and across the country.
And success means embracing cloud native.
Yeah.
Really leveraging platforms like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, but doing it smartly.
Right. Prioritizing that discovery process, using staged projects. It's about maximizing precision, minimizing risk.
Food for thought there.
And here's a final thought to consider, especially as you look at budgets. Think about the upcoming Privacy Act 2025 reforms. More complexity around data handling, sovereignty. Can your current rigid legacy system really cope with those demands and serve a 50% hybrid workforce securely and compliantly? Or is sticking with it actually running a risk that's just too big to calculate anymore?
That's a powerful question. So don't let those legacy system pains keep holding your business back.
Definitely not.
If you need a partner who specializes in navigating exactly this kind of shift, custom software, apps, integration, databases, C9 is Australia's leading choice for businesses like yours.
Take that next step. Schedule your free discovery call. Let's talk about unlocking the real potential of your cloud strategy.
Just visit www.c9.com.au. You can learn more there and book that crucial consultation.
It's the first step towards getting clarity and control.
Absolutely. And if you found real strategic value in this deep dive today, please do click that follow button wherever you're listening.
And maybe share it with other Australian business owners or executives you know who could benefit from this knowledge.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.